All right, good morning and welcome to Section 8 Consulting. Today I've got some exciting news for the continuation of this year all the way into next year. And that is Marcia Fudge, which is the director of HUD, and the Biden administration have announced approximately up to 20,000 new vouchers. Now, as many of you know, we struggle through the summertime because that's when a lot of people want to move. That's when a lot of people get in line. And unfortunately, about the other 6 months of the year, it's like a ghost town. And that's why I always tell clients during the summer it's probably the worst time to probably do it. But now that we're in September, all the way to that expansion to March, that's the most preferred time. That's when there's vouchers. But the exceptional rule right now is what we're going to be discussing, that 20,000 new vouchers. That's an incredible number. So we're going to flood the market. Now is a really, really good time. Some of the best times I've seen in years, probably to get this. Now, does that mean it's going to happen quickly? Well, we'll see. Because anytime there's government involved in foot dragging, there's going to be a little bit to get all this out there. But anticipation is extremely high right now. All right. That being said, let me do a few introductions. I am the owner of section8consulting.com, and I've been working with clients for about 21 years. We do casework. We take on calls to answer, general questions for those of you that may not have the foresight or insight into Section 8. So if something like that is of interest to you, you can reach out to our company, book an appointment, or if you need help getting a voucher and expediting that process, we're exceptional in that area. All right, that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull from the fact sheet because I believe that we need to talk about exactly the details here. And so rather than try to wing it, what we have here is a fact sheet. So today, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and that would be, I'm going to go ahead and move my picture out of the way so I can read this with you guys. Marcia L. Fudge will be traveling to Church Falls, Virginia to announce the awarding of 19,000 new housing vouchers to almost 2,000 public housing agencies, or PHAs. For those of you who don't know, I've been telling you for years, there are thousands of housing authorities. They all take a kind of a boilerplate policy in federal code of regulation, and then they issue one mandate, and every HA or housing authority operates so much different than the other. Some ways are the same, other ways are not. So you can imagine as a company, we're trying to adapt and adjust each housing authority, its policies, its procedures, and so on. Beyond that, let's read on to the rest. This will be the most expansive allocation of flexible new rental assistance in the last 20 years. I would dare say that that's probably the largest induction of vouchers across the nation in probably U.S. history. Since taking office, the Biden administration has repeatedly acted to help vulnerable renters and households attain quality and stable housing through the historic expansion. Now, what I want to do is I want to kind of get away from the political aspects of this. It makes no difference to me what Biden does or Trump does and all that other stuff. What I want to do is just get on the facts. The American Rescue Plan fiscal year 2022 budget collectively provided over 100,000 new housing vouchers, including more than 19,000 being announced today. Now, I do question that number. If there were 100,000 vouchers floating in the market, I think maybe over a course of time, that's a possibility where they're used, but I'm not aware of any such circumstances where 100,000 vouchers were issued this year, so I'm not quite sure what that administration is talking about. I think the primary focus here is going to be that it's going to be expansive. It should help around 700,000 households. Now, that again is a small fraction. That's about, 3% of the U.S. population. So, beyond that, I think that the choosing how that's going to work is approximately 19,359 housing choice vouchers, and it'll go to approximately 1,945 PHAs. So I think that I finally, after 21 years, have figured out how many housing authorities are in America, because HUD is now assisting me. There is approximately 19,045, and I don't think there'll probably be more or less than that. So I think where this is going to go is we're probably going to have about a 30-day stall, and then they're going to start, HUD will start administering this. For those of you that don't know, housing authorities are generally run by the county housing authority, which may be a mixture of county employees and private employees. Your local housing authority is not HUD. HUD itself is a federal agency. It does not issue vouchers. It allocates them to the state. The state allocates that down to each county, and then the counties apply for that, and then they receive a nominal amount of vouchers and so on. A lot of you guys call everything HUD. Housing authorities is not HUD. HUD only does two functional things. It administers all the funds, It administers all the vouchers to the states and HAs. And if you have a problem dealing with the housing authority, you take it up to HUD. So when you guys bash on HUD, I love HUD. HUD does a good job, I think, in many respects. It's your housing authority that fundamentally most of you have a problem with. So beyond that, I want to tell you guys, it's been over a month since I made a video, and so there's some channel updates. We're going to be rolling out videos as normal again. Burnout's real. Most of you may not realize this, but through 2019 to now, 3 years, I was working upwards 80 hours. We were working 60 to 100 clients a month and up to 1,000 people a year. The amount of pressure that the pandemic put on our society, the amount of the people that the pandemic took their jobs and their homes was crazy. Around 40 million people may have lost their homes and apartments, and so it put an insurmountable of pressure on our company to a point that I was burning out 4 times a year. Even this year, there was burnout after March, because as many of you know, I get hammered really hard between September and March, and it starts to decline all the way through summer. But it's a lot to deal with clients, getting what they need, We've had a pretty good success rate with working with clients, I should mention. Pre-pandemic, before the pandemic hit, I think our success rate working with clients and ultimately see them getting a voucher was around 91%. That means it's about an 8% to 9% chance that your monies might have been spent elsewhere. Through the pandemic, the numbers have dipped in the 80s, 87 and higher, 80%, 87%. So I still think that's still better than a gamble with a scratch off, or burning your money in a casino. But, when you look at the totality of what I've done with clients, working with them, educating them, giving them policies, procedures, and manuals, you start to understand fundamentally that our business and how we're engaging with the community outside of HUD is to help a lot of people that simply may not have the acuity, the time, or resources to understand the system as a whole. And many of you, I think, struggle with the concept that housing authority and its employees' job is to give a voucher if you can meet the requirements. They're not there to teach you. They're not there to educate you. And so a lot of you are left in the dark. This is an old system that's expansive, probably over 80 years. And so when you start reading into this, a lot of what's on Google is outdated. Even HUD's own website, shamefully, has a lot of old web pages that may have irrelevant information. It's hard to navigate because HUD's website is actually pretty expansive. I mean, they've got thousands, if not 10,000s of pages, and you can end up all over the place. And a lot of it's partial information, sometimes even outdated. I think it's grown so big that even HUD itself is struggling to kind of clean it up. I hope they do at some point. So that being said, I'm going to check the time real quick because there's no sense in rambling forever. Looks like we're at about 8 minutes. I think I'm going to wrap this up. Now, what I want to tell you is tonight at around 6 p.m. Central Standard Time or Texas time, you want to pay attention. I'll be back on tonight live doing a Q&A for Section 8 housing, and you can ask all the questions you'd like. I would also have you guys visit our website here, section8consulting.com. And if you, like I said, if you're struggling with the housing and other issues and you can't deal with it yourself, or you've had enough trying and like to turn it over to somebody that's professional, that's been able to have a pretty good career and doesn't have a lot of negative information. And as far as we know, our company is not having any issues with liens, holds, judgments, or other federal investigation of the DOJ or FBI. Our reputation has remained pretty much intact through the years. Then I would say we'd be probably a good company and principal to speak to. There are other consultants in the market you're welcome to as well. All right, guys, I've enjoyed talking with you. We'll see you tonight at 6 p.m. Central Standard Texas time. Y'all have a great Sunday. Bye-bye.